OG. And we're back. So I've had quite a bit of time now in UFL, or at least it feels like it. At least enough time to really feel like I understand the game and can give you a good review on my experience so far. I've already made several videos because I'm extremely high on this game. I think it has a ton of potential, but besides the potential part, it's already extremely fun to play, and there's so many cool things that are just exciting because you know that they can be built off of. And the fact that you're already seeing the responsiveness from the development team and the creators of the game and how fast they're fixing issues and stuff, it just makes you that much more excited that they're going to listen to feedback and implement some of these things that the players of the game want, which is something EA never did with FIFA or EAFC, whatever you want to call it. And so, like I said, it makes it even that much more exciting because the product is already awesome. It's already so much fun to play. It got to a point in EAFC where I literally just love football gaming, so I would force myself to play, but I wasn't enjoying it at all. There hasn't been one time when I didn't enjoy this game, and that's including after I suffered some tough losses. There's one point where it only happened once, but I went through a 4-game losing streak, and in EAFC that would happen, and it would most likely be because somebody was abusing glitches or the server or whatever was causing the delay and the lag in the game just made it unplayable. So after a few losses, you're just done because it wasn't fun. Whereas in UFL, even on that 4-game losing streak, they were all close games, and I just came on the short end of the stick. Had to change some things in my team around, but it was still fun. As a competitor, I didn't want to lose, but it was still enjoyable. It was part of the game. It wasn't losing because of a glitch, losing because of lag. It was literally just I played the game and I fell short, made some changes, and since then I've been on a run. And I truly believe even if I wasn't doing it as good as I am right now, I would still be playing and still be pushing to get better because that's just how much fun the game is. So, what is the difference then? I mean, there's a million different ways I can go with this, but I want to start with the most important, which is gameplay. I already touched on it in other videos, so I won't go in too much detail because I want to talk about the other things that are awesome in this game. But the gameplay itself is great. Right off the bat, the spacing and the passing, I can't stress enough. That's what creates the end-to-end action. It creates a skill gap because it's not so jam-packed where you can just flick onto your a player away from the ball and let your AI defend because there's no space for the opposition to run into, and then just try to figure out which glitch you're going to try to abuse to try to win the game as your opponent does the same thing. It's none of that. You actually have to pass and move, and when you're defending, you have to manually defend a player one-on-one or move your defenders into the passing lanes to win the ball back. And so right off the bat, that's excellent. Now, obviously, there are animations and certain things that the developers have to add and certain glitches and stuff they have to fix, as in any sports or any video game period that just releases as a free-to-play game, by the way. And they've already fixed some of them, as I've already stated too. And even with those certain glitches, lack of some animations, it doesn't make the game any less fun. It's still extremely enjoyable to play. So that speaks for itself. But let's move away from the gameplay and look at some of the other things they did well. I spoke about this a bit, but the idea that you can build a low-rated team all the way up to 91, which is right now the max, that's incredible. The fact that you can go whichever route you want with adding skills to those players, that's incredible. Not to mention, there isn't any single formation. There are strong formations in this game, like I talked about the 4-3-3. I also talked about the 5-back, in particular the 5-2-3. Extremely strong. I use those myself. But I've played so many different teams that use so many different formations and players that have utilized those well, from a 3-back to a 4-2-4 to a 4-1-2-1-2 super narrow formation to a super wide playing 4-4-2, but having the team set extremely wide using the wingers. A cross heavy team that was going for their aerial threats to a tiki-taki passing team that just tried to pass their way into the net. Teams that were constantly trying to take finesse shots because they had wingers that could cut in and take those. Just the list goes on, and it makes it constantly changing, constantly fun to play. Not to mention, there is some repetitive matchups, and some people don't like that, but for me, I think it's awesome. I've literally created some rivalries already, guys that I go back and forth with in extremely close games, and it makes it fun. There were a few times where maybe I matched someone a little too many times in a row where, okay, now it's time to move on. But for the most part, the spacing between when I play these guys, even though I play them often, the spacing is good enough where I have enough other opponents in there that it literally almost creates, like I said, like a real life rivalry. Like you're going into a derby match and maybe he just got you last time, so you really want to get him back after he beat you in a close game, or maybe you've had the best of your opponent the past few games when he was getting the best of you before, and I think it's awesome. So then we move on to the development of your players. Even if you go out and want to purchase CP, like I said, you have to have the reputation points, which is essentially like a salary cap, to be able to purchase players. So you can't just go buy 10 billion coins and buy any player you want. You still have to grind the game and get rewarded with reputation points to be able to get all those players. So as you can see, many would say you have a pay-to-win team, and they're absolutely right. But you can also see them in the Ruby division. There's still divisions above me, and I can promise you the teams are just going to get stronger and stronger. They already are. And for me, I've invested a lot of time into this game because I love it, and it's my hobby, and it's worth putting some money into, especially when I'm competing and aiming to compete at the highest level possible, because other opponents are going to have very strong teams as well. But let's talk about even if you purchase those players. Once again, you have to continue to develop them and add whichever skill points you want to add to them. So you could take them kind of any direction with the skill set that you would want to go. And it might only change the player minor. I think some of these skills, or whatever you want to call them, they're equivalent to, I guess you would say, play styles. There's some that I believe are more OP than others. Even if you don't notice the drastic change, as you get into tighter games, I do notice the differences, whether it's certain players with the precision shooting, the finesse shots, whatever you want to call them, or someone who's got great long shots, or a center back with certain attributes for tackling, or a center mid with certain attributes that favor, interceptions, whatever it may be. But I think that part of it's awesome too, because it allows sort of a unique take for each individual. You don't all go the same route. There's not just one meta play style. There's not just one meta route that you can go as these players earn XP and you can get skill points and whatnot. So not only that, but you also have the ability, like I have two players from my original team that have developed along the way, and initially I'm like, I'm going to replace all these guys and get everyone I want. But right now, I have a center back and a left winger that, since I play with them so much, are pretty darn good. And they have some excellent attributes to them as well, or skills, whatever you want to call it. So I don't even know if I'm going to get rid of them. So even though I went the route of buying players, right, putting some money into the game, I still have those two players that I'm pretty fond of because they've been there from the start, from game one all the way through. Not to mention everyone else that I have on my team, they continue to move up too. It's not like you just buy CR7 or Camavinga, whoever, and they're stuck where they're at. They continue to earn stats and earn skills and stuff like that, just like your other players, all the way up to 91. So it's pretty awesome. Now, eventually, everyone's going to hit 91, and it doesn't sound like UFL has talked about a reset. But then again, they're going to have to do something, right? But the good news is this game is awesome. It has so many cool things to it. There's no doubt that they can come up with something. And there's no doubt they're going to listen to their audience and go in a direction that people will like because they want more and more players to play. They want players that have bought into this game to continue playing the game. So right now, I'm just enjoying the journey of developing my players, developing my team, earning my way up the ladder. But eventually, once we get to that point, and even in between there, I know there's exciting stuff. They just came out with those December challenges. I think that's a cool thing. There's no doubt they're going to add in certain modes, maybe an offline mode with certain challenges. There's no doubt that they're going to continue to add things, right? Whereas EAFC, it got kind of redundant, even with all the different things they added, rush and squad battles, and then you had your friendly cups where you could earn objectives and SBCs. All these things are possible in UFL, but we just don't know, and that's what's exciting because they've done such a good job so far that it makes you that much more excited and constantly wanting to find out updates about the game. So it's just a fresh start. So for any football gaming fans, I've said it a million times by now, but please see for yourself what I'm talking about. I don't think you will regret putting time into this game. Hopefully, stick around and I can see you out on the pitch. And you all have a good rest of your night. Thank you.